All right. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Hexiled Gaming. I'm Scott, and I'm here with the Reverend Joe.
Yes,
That's how I
the
will refer
Reverend
to you.
himself. Who's sitting way too close to the mic. I'm learning all kinds of great things about radio this morning. I'm mostly pointing at things, be like, "What's that? What's that?"
You and me both. This is going to be a learning experience. So we're here at the Campaign Against Cancer event in Jacksonville, Florida.
Yep.
And this is the game one, first game here. Erin versus Clay. We got Rebel Beef versus Rebel Beef. Whose U-wing will reign supreme?
I did look over the list as we were sitting here. It's funny. There's 3 out of the 4 ships are 100% the same, and then it looks like we have 10 Numb switched out in one list for Wedge in the other. It'll be interesting to see whether that similarity ends up being the match, or whether they have wildly different styles, or whether these end up being very different play styles. I'm actually quite interested to see that.
Yeah, that's a good point. And we've got Proton Torp Dutch versus Ion Cannon Turret Dutch, Veteran Turret Gunner.
Yeah, that is interesting too.
Who do you favor? I kind of feel like Wedge PS6 could, PS kill something. Maybe that makes the big difference.
Well, that's Wedge got for his loadout. I mean, right now he's not just firing anything that's in particularly scary. I was playing a similar list to this a couple of weeks ago down in Miami, and by similar I mean it was Rebel and it had Dutch and Wedge. So I mean, it was using Lando instead of good things. Cassian and Braylen, I understand, are actually better than Lando, which breaks my heart. Yep. But I had missiles on both Dutch and Wedge, and they were able to do some pretty impressive alpha strikes. I'm interested to see how this list plays without that ability to punch something down as quickly as that was.
Right.
Because with Lando's action and Dutch's handing out target lock, I was able to really launch both missiles pretty effectively on the first round and almost neuter a 3-ship list at that point. So it'll be interesting to see whether this plays a slower, tankier kind of game.
Well, they're not taking it slow. They're flying straight at each other.
Yes. One of the things I want to do today is educate you on some local Florida culture, because I understand you're down from Savannah, Georgia?
Correct.
Okay, so you're pretty familiar with the southern culture, but Florida is even a little more southern and a little more bizarre. They're doing what we call down here putting on the mud flaps and hauling ass, which is just flying straight out of the gates as quickly as possible.
Yep.
And, I do it a lot because I prefer a short game, but they probably have some deeper strategy to that than that.
Or some pent-up aggression,
That's true, that's true.
We do see, I believe this is Cassian, down here on the left, is not quite lined up with everybody else. I guess that he probably got placed first.
Well, what's going to be interesting about him, I think one thing he's going to be able to do from there is to be able to block off and escape, right?
Right.
If Clay, we do have Clay on the right and Erin on the left, right? Where the Lissars, where the streamer, yeah. If Clay's going to try to break off from this engagement and go into the rocks, with her having initiative and being able to block that gap between the 2 asteroids, that's going to leave Clay very few options where he's going to be able to go. Now, it's going to be a little easier because he might be able to, use some Organa tricks to make this work, but I'm not sure where the break-off engagement is going to go.
Right.
So I think that'll be interesting to watch on this. Now, for the 2 players involved here, Clay is one of our local players from here in Jacksonville. Erin, I believe, is up from the Orlando area. I know she plays a lot of games. The cool stuff's down there. So it'll be interesting to see a little Jacksonville versus Orlando action here.
It looks like he went way fast, right? That's what all that stress is from?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the opposite of putting on the mud flaps down here in Florida is driving the bus, which is the Rebel one forward and clear your stress.
Right.
We do quite a bit of that down here as well.
And it's not unusual to see these B-wing stressed, but the Y-wing, a little bit.
Yeah.
But they're definitely going to be in engagement range next turn, no matter what.
Some pew-pewing going on here, which I'll be interested to see.
Yep.
Now, are we able to see the list totals to see who has initiative, or are they both at 200?
Let's see if it shows me here. I can see it. So 200 for Erin's and 199 for Clay.
Yeah, looks like we're definitely within firing range. Now, Erin hasn't moved yet, though, right?
Correct.
Well, I suppose there's... that'd be interesting to see where she goes.
So Clay took initiative then?
Yep.
Okay.
Like we said, covering that gap right there, try to block some of his escape.
Yep. Do we know how many people are at this event? It's 20-something, right?
I talked to Steve last night. He was running the event, and he said they had 28 that had registered, although we weren't sure what the final head count would be on that.
Right.
One, so.
Right, so Dutch moves up. So Cassian took a target lock, so Dutch must be giving it to somebody else.
Yeah, one thing to remember for the people at home is that Dutch, when he gives out that target lock, that other ship does not have to currently be within range. It's just whatever one he took it on, which is a trick that can help a lot, especially when you're dealing with a list that has higher pilot skill guys that are moving up after. And so it's particularly good with Wedge. If Wedge is able to move into firing range right here, he should be able to get a pretty substantial shot.
What is the fastest blue maneuver on the Y-Wing?
On the Y-Wing? That's a fascinating question.
2?
I don't know the answer to. We're going to discover this quite a bit throughout the day, is that I actually don't get to play very much X-Wing.
Oh, it's... I can look at it right here.
How much you might call a color commentator?
2.
The base thing,
So I'm just thinking he wants to relieve his stress, but he wants to get out of that Proton Torp range. I don't know that a 2 forward's going to do that.
Yeah. And the ion cannon turret only goes out to 2?
Correct. Yep. So that veteran turret gunner on Erin, yeah, it's going to have to be in range 2, which shouldn't be a problem. He hasn't moved yet, or she hasn't moved yet.
I am looking towards next turn's maneuvers, though, and it's going to be challenging because Erin doesn't necessarily... I'll be interested to see whether she'll be able to do a big Leia K turn with where Clay's ships are likely to land next turn.
Let me change something here in the overlay. Just our betting numbers. 0 is always on the left, 1's always on the right. There we go. All right. We got to figure out which of these B-wings is which. I'm going to go take a look at that. I'll be right back.
Absolutely. I will hold down the fort here. While he's gone, I want to talk a little bit about what the event we're running here today is for everybody that's not familiar. Well, if you're on this stream, there's a pretty good chance you already are. But what we're doing is the Campaign Against Cancer event, which is a charity event being held at multiple locations worldwide. I want to say somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 different locations are running Cancer
right.
today, which is a fantastic event that is raising money for the Campaign Against Cancer, which I'm going to have to go and check with Steve about what we're doing, which is awkward because we did an entire podcast about it, and it was 2 weeks ago, and my memory doesn't extend that far.
St. Jude's Children's Hospital, I think.
Is it St. Jude's? Awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So Numb is the orange B-wing that barrel rolled first.
Force. I like that.
And so that's Braylen. All right, so 1 forward out of Erin's Dutch. Going to relieve that stress, but is in Proton Torp range now. Don't think any amount of repositioning is going to help that. No barrel roll is going to get you close. She's got the ion range, but she's also got 3 target locks on her.
Yeah.
Wedge can't kill her, so she'd at least get to simultaneous fire, but...
One thing that he does have... So Cassian on Clay's side is one that's holding Leia. She has what looks to be 3 pretty good shots on there between the 2 B-wings and his Cassian. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I don't know that they'll be able to delete her in this turn, which would be fantastic, because then you can avoid any use of Leia at all. It makes this list a lot harder to fly.
Yeah. All right. There's the target lock.
Oh, yep, getting the second target lock from the R3 Astromech.
Yep. And gives one to Cassian, it looks like. Yep.
Yep, handing out that one.
And Cassian locks Cassian.
Clay's Cassian is going to be taking some significant fire. It's interesting to see the choices that were made here as regards to who's getting shot. I mean, I think both of them are painting a target pretty clearly. Mm-hmm. Both of them have chosen very different targets. I'm interested to talk to them after the game and find out whether that was the game plan thing or whether that was, just a this is where the chips landed.
Right. So Wedge hops over, which be Braylen. Takes a focus. I think he's already got the lock from Dutch.
Yep. I said, so significant being able to take that lock from farther than range 3, especially when you have a higher pilot skill ship that you want to make sure can line up the shot for, in this case, no missiles, but something like a missile where you can't afford to not get that shot.
Yep. So good question in the chat. They're asking what sort of list is it super meta here. I haven't seen any phantoms that I know of.
I didn't see any phantoms. I haven't gone around doing a list looking at yet, but I'll do that between games here. We held this event at the same location last year, and one thing that we found was that there was certainly a little bit of a division.
Sorry, I think I see some phantoms over there. Okay, so yeah, they're here.
They're hard to
see.
Not quite as they're cloaked. That's what they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
exactly.
fly under the radar. But we had held this event here last year, and we had found that some people were preparing for Worlds just because of when this event was last year, and then a lot of people were not. But one of the things that's nice about this event is there's a cut in the middle of this. There's 6 rounds where they split the pods at the end of round 3, and people that are sort of playing for fun end up playing against other people that are playing for fun in one pod, and the people that are playing highly competitively will do that in the other one.
So Wedge shoots into Dutch, takes the shields and a damage card onto Dutch.
Damage card,
Erin's
but no
Dutch.
crit. That's a good thing.
Yep. Face down, so that's not too bad. Looks like this must be a torp, I think. I just saw a hit get turned to a crit. Oh, they've got a dice box over there. And there goes a crit. We'll find out what that is. It's on the nose.
Check. I'll be right back.
Alrighty.
Sensor array.
Damaged sensor array. I might ask them to move that dice box. Oh, he's letting us know what the roll was.
It does look solid. I'm seeing a significant amount of paint there.
There's another crit. And 2 crits.
We have somebody asking in the chat, this is not a 2-day event. This is a single day one. Just a lot of people coming out having fun.
6 rounds.
A lot of people doing prep for. Coming up soon is the Atlanta System Open Series, which a lot of our people are prepped for because a lot of our people are going to next weekend. So that's going to be a 2-day event. That's 2 weekends in a row of 2-day events is a lot more than the wives will let us out for.
Yep.
Hard to get a hall pass for that.
2 stress show up, so that's Panic Pilot.
Yep. One of my favorite parts about 2.0 so far is that it feels like all of the crits seem very thematically accurate, where I tend to only get a panic pilot when one of my guys is about to die. And they'll say that there's a minor explosion when my guy has been blown to bits. I'm like, yeah, that seems legitimate. It's like pilot injury. Well, the entire ship's blown up, so yeah, that seems likely as well.
Yeah. So that was a shot from Erin's Dutch into Cassian. Where are you?
Looks like Cassian's starting to take his ion tokens on there.
There's 1 shield gone on Cassian.
And as a medium-based ship, that he's going to need 2 of those before those ion tokens do him any real damage.
Right.
Or do him any effecticals. Ooh, blanking out on the defense.
I'm going to ask him if we can move that dice box.
Sure. Oh, looks like we have a face-up damage card coming that way. That's some significant damage already. Whew. Oh, got it right in the street. Thank you very much to both the players for doing that for us, for all the people at home. We really do appreciate that.
We need that drama.
I know. Yep.
All right, let me see. What have I missed here?
Looks like Cassian lost the rest of his shields and has actually picked up a damage card.
And I think Dutch took one as well. Did Cassian lose all this? No, he's got... All right, there's another... Okay, yep, there's a crit and a damage on Cassian. Never mind.
So both of them painted some pretty significant targets here. For a game that started as a 4-on-4 similar thing, it's going to be a very different game once each of them have lost a specific ship that's vital to their strategy.
Right. And you can see... Well, I was going to say you could see them each going after each other's Cassian, but no, Clay definitely went after Erin's Dutch. And here's 3 dice into Dutch. There's 1. And a crit. And that's got to be... Yeah, that's a dead Dutch. Let me double check.
Well, you can tell both players have a pretty firm grasp of this matchup, or at least playing each of their own lists, because they're both trying to neutralize what I would see as the Leia advantage. If
right.
you... Or, I guess... Clay's really trying to protect his Leia advantage while Erin's trying to remove that. Taking out Leia... Let me put this in a way that makes some sense. No, I swear I'm going somewhere with this. Basically, what Dutch can do when he has that ion cannon turret is make it so that Leia's not able to change a maneuver. Because basically, you're taking that one straight, you know what I mean? You're taking a ship out of the fight, putting it out of position. With what's going to be a close game with very similar lists, that one ship being out of position for one turn and then maybe a consequent turn turning around is a huge difference, right?
Right.
Whereas if you look at what Erin's attempting to do is to take Leia off the board entirely, preventing that K turn for coming around and producing that one turn of swing where you have ships not getting shots.
Right.
I mean, they're both sort of taking big gambles on the opening engagement to make the second engagement that much more difficult for their opponent.
Right.
But one of the things that's going to be really interesting is the positioning of this round, because there is a gap on the top of that left-hand side where there's some maneuverability there.
Exactly.
It'll be interesting to see whether either player takes advantage of that by because you can block multiple ships with one of those B-wings down there and have some significant shots as well. Clay has the initiative, so he will probably be able to move most of his things first to prevent some of that. We'll see what happens, though.
When does the Cassian removal happen? The start of activation. Okay. So I think he'll probably take this stress away from... This is Tindum, so that's Braylen. Tindum's going to go over this debris. Doesn't care too much. He likes stress.
Yeah.
Who had initiative?
Clay has initiative, I think.
Let me put that in the overlay. Okay, that'll help me remember that. All right, so Clay stuff's going to move first, so he can plug the gap. These B-wings are going to play close. He may not even remove that stress if he thinks he's going to bump because he wants it for the mod.
Right. I mean, he's got some... Erin's got some interesting choices to make here.
Yeah.
I think there are ways to get out of this. It looks like Clay's Cassian is down to 2, which is a pretty manageable number. I think it's quite close still.
Yeah.
The important thing will be removing him before he gets his shots, I think.
Yeah, he's a 5 hull, and he's got 3 damage cards. Okay, just double checking my my damage numbers there. Let's see what that crit is.
By the way, guys, we are recording here in beautiful, sunny Jacksonville, Florida, at our local Cool Stuff's games. Cool Stuff, a huge part of the gaming scene down here in Florida. They have, I believe, 7 locations now here in Florida, and a huge internet presence as well. So they're one of the prime places you'll see in Florida anytime you come down here. Huge gaming space in all of their stores, which is awesome. Well stocked online. You can have anything shipped to the store that you could ever need, which is handy as all get out. So, anytime you're down in our neck of the woods, check it out.
So that is a stunned pilot on Cassian. I'm just going to remind myself, after you execute a maneuver, if you overlapped an obstacle. Okay, I don't think that'll be a problem for him.
And that's one that has changed to 1.0. And 1.0 is an obstacle or another ship, which felt like a death sentence.
Yeah.
I was a particular fan of Decimators back at the time, and many a game were lost in its inability to go anywhere without bumping into somebody it knew.
Or you're flying Oiken, and you're like, oh, you've taken away my entire ship's ability.
Oh, you seem to have blunted the point. Ooh. Can you tell from that shot whether or not he's on that rock?
I cannot.
It is.
He takes a stress, so he must be. Yep, he's rolling for it.
Still, they'll plug that hole pretty significantly. That's going to not leave a lot of room for maneuvering, especially with an attempt to still get a shot.
Oh, he's stunned, so he takes a damage from that and dies. He must have had more than... He only had 1 hull. Wow.
Ooh. Well,
wow.
He could have taken one from the roll and one from the thing. That might
I
have
don't
been
think he
the two.
rolled. I think he took the stun before he even rolled. If you have stun pilot, why do you go that fast? Why did you do a 2-bank? Was that a 2 or a 1?
Here in Jacksonville, we're fairly reckless.
Well, at least you put the mud flaps on. You don't want to be throwing mud in people's windshield. Yeah.
Clay,
If you're going to be
Clay is
reckless, don't
making-
take us with you.
Clay is playing the very small violin. Is that what he's doing? He's either telling me that it was this close, or he's playing the world's smallest violin for himself. Can't tell which one. But he's laughing and smiling, which is why this is such a good event.
You know what? I don't want to call it reckless. I want to call it daring. You took a chance.
Yes. I like to use the word chutzpah in this situation. You know what I mean? Because I don't get to use it very often.
Yeah.
2-3 times a day at the most.
You know what he did? He helped close the gap. He evened the odds a little bit. 49 to 52.
It was a very Lando move. I'll take it.
All right, here's a 2-bank for sure. Out of Dutch.
I mean, he had a very real strategy. Had he not landed on it by that much, I mean,
Of course,
maneuvering there becomes very, very challenging.
Yeah, if Cassian was there, Dutch would have bumped into him. Probably doesn't matter too much.
Yeah. I think one of the things that's going to be difficult here is that I don't see any real practical way in which Wedge gets blocked, and Wedge is going to end up with a target lock, possibly with a range one-shot somehow.
Right.
And I think that's going to be pretty painful.
You know what? So in the chat, Smooth Skeleton saying that was a 1-bank from Cassian, so he couldn't have gone any. I mean, he could have gone straight, but he wanted to plug that gap, and the 1-bank was as slow as he could do
Well,
it.
and the one straight puts him in a pretty awkward position where there's a good chance he doesn't fire this turn, and there's certainly a chance he doesn't fire next turn. Well,
and he gets in the way of all these other teammates here.
Well, there's a weirdly flying ship too. Like I almost kind of like the one straight on that one because I feel like when you one straight next turn, you can do the 90-degree turn, and either way you go, depending on where the fight ended up going, I think you're okay.
Yeah.
But that's a strange ship to fly, and it's going to take some practice from a lot of people.
You know, he could have stopped. That's probably the best thing he could have done back there, is to stop the U-wing and then let these guys plug the hole like they're doing right now.
Well, especially because if he'd stopped, well, no, you can't stop, and then are they both? What's Cassian? Cassian's a 3. Awkward. I was gonna say if Cassian was at 4, it would have been nice to be able to stop with, be able to use Dutch to get the target lock and then stop with him and still have a target lock and have a meaningful shot.
Yeah.
3's a little rougher.
Yeah, Connor in the chat, he's a local where I play, pointing out that it's Rebel Beef, and he's super surprised. Not sarcastic at all. But you know what? These are different takes on that beef. At least we're not seeing complete mirrors.
So we have a little bit of a podcast that I'm a part of called Florida Man Plays X-Wing, which will be the first plug of many for the day. But we literally did an episode earlier this week where we discussed Rebel Beef. And by discussed, we mean that every time somebody said Rebel Beef, I did a little tick on the thing.
Okay.
It was very much like that episode of South Park where they realized they could curse, so they did it all the time.
Right.
I think we got up to like 40-something times in a 2-hour podcast somebody said Rebel Beef. So I'm going to sit here and laugh to myself at all that.
I mean, hey, competitive games have metas.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a meta list. It's
it's only weird to me because it's such a general term. Everyone's like, it's Rebel Beef. It's like, so you mean it's a Rebel list?
Like a 4 list with a lot of health? I don't know.
It's like, that's a pretty broadly defined list.
All right, so we get a bump there. So the hole was plugged.
Do you know where the term Rebel Beef comes from, then?
I don't.
It's actually from in 1992. Ole Miss, who are the Rebels, played against the Texas Longhorns in the Sugar Bowl, and that was the Rebel Beef Bowl, and that's where the term Rebel Beef comes from.
Wow.
Everybody at home that didn't know that, I actually made that up, but I actually made it up earlier in the week and have been saving that and sitting on it for a while.
Okay.
I actually had to look it up. They did, in fact, play in the Sugar Bowl in 1992. But there you have it, little southern culture down there.
You can't say you don't learn anything from this stream.
Factually accurate things, maybe less so. Now, what events have you streamed? You seem pretty competent at this, like you've done this before.
I've done a few store championships. We did the hyperspace trial a couple weeks ago in Lexington. Big events, not many. So this is a stepping stone here.
All right, cool deal.
Yeah. So we see a roll for the debris there. Doesn't look like it. Looks like a hit, not a crit. Let's see if any shields are missing. I don't think so. All All right, Wedge comes in with a 2 bank, it looks like. Does he have arc on anything?
If not, I feel like...
Well, he's probably got Braylen, I think. I think this is Braylen, this is 10 Numb.
Man, Wedge just does work on a list that's using this few defense dice.
Right.
It's like if he's shooting and he's shooting accurately, he just does nothing but work here.
Yep. 10 lost a shield. Where are you, 10 Numb? Oh, why do I have 1 hull on the orange 10 Numb? Oh, go back to 4. Alright, we'll take that off.
Alright, so we have shooting starting. There's a range 1 shot coming here. Breaking out those range 1 roars. Oh, it might be range 2 because of the angle. I think that's what they're checking right now.
Oh, I think she's wanting to shoot Cassian.
Oh.
Yeah. She can take that ship off the board. No, that's... No, sorry. Clay is trying to shoot his Wedge into her Cassian.
It looks like the range is just a little skewy because they have to move some ships out of the way to be able to get that ruler in there and see whether that arc is there.
Yep.
Clay's usually got a laser with him. I'm surprised they didn't bust out the lasers.
All right, we'll be able to tell by how many dice he's rolling. 3, so that must be into...
must be into Cassian at range 2.
Cassian.
And spending the target lot.
Looks like just 1.
Oof.
And... not obstructed?
It must be obstructed because Wedge's ability would knock it down.
Right. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that shot. I feel like I would have taken the short range, gotten the damage, but like I said, that lay advantage is not something you want to underestimate. Even if it only goes off once per game, that's an entire turn of you basically getting shots when your opponent doesn't.
I think he knew he could PS kill Cassian, whereas he couldn't Braylen.
That's true.
There's 4.
Allow me to retort.
So has the stress from 10 Numb I see. Oh boy, there's all the shields gone. Is that 10 Numb?
Let's say 10 Numb's gonna feel that in the morning, but he's numb. Oh. Very nice. Which is actually really funny because Josh and I have actually worked a couple of streams together in the past, which is hysterical.
Mm-hmm.
He was stuck in a very small room with me for several hours before he realized who I really was.
All right, so Erin's going to shoot back. 4 dice at range 1, gets 2. Going to reroll that into a blank. So 2 go through. Which that was his Braylen.
Very nice. Thank you, Lou the Lunatic. Dad jokes are my specialty.
Oh, there's 4. There's natties.
Oh, Steve, you missed it. He's got an overlay. Whenever they roll natties, it puts natty light up on the screen.
Oh, really?
We need this, yes.
All right, that's awesome.
Yeah, put it on the list.
1
Going on the list.
and a crit. We'll find out what that Braylen
just
crit
a
is.
slobber knocker.
Yeah. I mean, they went straight at each other, and here we are, scrumming at range 1. Oh, Skeleton calling out Selfless. There is Selfless in Erin's list, which is going to be very difficult to track.
I'm going to have a table check or two on that one. Now, where do you guys play up in Savannah? You guys got a local shop you'd like to...
Savannah Line Games in Pooler, Georgia. Yeah, that's our local place. Not a huge competitive scene there, but a passionate one,
I was
nonetheless.
going to say, if you have enough people to come out in any given week, it's fun and it's
Yeah.
interesting.
Much bigger until the end of 1.0,
Oh, really?
and not everybody came back for the transition.
You know, we found that process to be slow but steady.
Mm-hmm. So let's see there.
Man, this is going to be some complex maneuvering.
Yeah, I'm gonna go check the shield
Checking those
values. I'll be
counts?
right back.
Absolutely. Going to be some interesting maneuvering because they are so close. There are so many options for using Leia for an attempt to K-turn behind people here. I feel like where Clay's Wedge right now is feeling like he's in a really good spot because he's far enough out. Like, I think playing him off is a pretty good maneuver there. For looking like who's still in this fight and who's pretty beat up, I mean, on Erin's side, Cassian, Braylen, still full health. 10 Numb's about halfway there, but for a B-wing, that's not a bad place to be. Looks like Dutch is definitely taking some damage. Cassian's obviously dead. Wedge is still full health, although his Braylen is really only holding on by a thread. I would not be shocked to see him be the next person to go.
All right. So these are the shield tokens, not this blue acrylic one, which is really throwing me because there's another blue acrylic over here.
I
think
believe
those are target
I
locks.
think those are her target lock tokens
Yeah.
she's got for them. Some pretty cool ones. I like them.
Yep. So one off Braylen and then gone on 10 Numb. Okay.
Oh, I'm stoked to see what's going to happen this round. I
Yeah.
suspect, if I were a betting man, and I am, I suspect they each lose the ship here.
Yeah. Did Clay... Let's see. Erin's Cassian survived. Dutch is gone. Okay. Clay's Cassian was the one that went into that one. No, this one.
Clay's Cassian, was the one that had gone and dropped himself onto that rock and
Right.
did what you might call the ironic thing of getting a crit and then instantly having it be very, very important.
Yeah. And blinded is the crit on Braylen.
That's challenging.
That shuts down his offensive reroll, right?
I believe blinded pilot, assuming it hasn't changed as much as I think it has, means next time he has an opportunity to shoot, he will not be able to.
No, it means you can't mod without force.
Oh,
While you
gotcha.
perform an attack, you cannot modify your dice. You can modify it only by spending force points. So he can't use the stress to reroll.
I am thinking the second version of blinded pilot. Gotcha.
First edition.
Well, there was a first edition, and there was a second one in first edition when TFA came out, which was not
Ah.
quite as bad because it flipped down on your first opportunity to fire, not your first actual shot. And now we have a third version.
Oh,
my
man.
gosh. As if being old wasn't hard enough, they have to give me this
I think
much
I
information.
came in after The Force Awakens, so I never had to deal with the first
the
edition.
original damage jack was a lot swingier.
Mm-hmm.
There were times when it mattered not at all. There's a lot of things in there that if it hit the right guy, it meant nothing. If it hit the wrong guy, it was the entire game. You may as well shake hands and go home.
Yep.
The second one was a lot more balanced, and this third one's even more balanced than that. So I think they've been progressively better and better.
Gotcha. Where did she do? Yeah, there's a token, so Leia must have been procced there for Erin.
Being able to use Leia, and it looks like she did the 90-degree turn as well, expecting the fight to go to that direction, which seems like a legitimate... The other thing that's going to be interesting is next turn having... Well, because she used... That's actually very smart. Because she used Leia and didn't take stress for doing that, she could actually stay there again next round or
Yeah.
rotate again.
Totally.
That's a huge advantage. And can sort of explain the thought process behind taking out Clay's, Cassian first, because that's a huge advantage.
Right. That was that's big. Although here, where we're just going to be bumping in range 1, it does take away the Talon roll potential, the 1Ks, but there's no room to do that really.
Yeah. I do not envy them the type of shenanigans they have to use to maneuver through all this right now.
Yeah. This is tough.
I mean, it's not just tough, it's a lot of work. They're going to be marking ships for the next 20 minutes.
Let's see, 73 to 77. I mean, they are so close in points. All those target locks on.
Lunatic's got a very good
Cassian.
point there. He's talking about the damage deck. The new damage deck is consistently more difficult to deal with, but is less swingy than the old one. So I said there were things in the old one. There was one that I specifically remember that destroyed all of your EPTs on a ship and got rid of their pilot ability. Which, if you got that on, say, random Y-Wing with nothing on there, who cares? If you got that on, say, the Baron Suture Fell, you may as well just clap your hands and say, oh, gee golly. Which is the nicest way to say I'm boned.
Yeah. There's Erin's 10 Numb doing a 2K.
I like that maneuver. I mean, she seems to have very committed to where the fight's likely to take place, and I think she's going to be right about that one. So I like the maneuver. I think it's great.
Oh, and because of Leia, it's white.
Yep.
So it gets to barrel roll. Mike, Malloy saying, I think new crits are more punishing. I think of blinded, what it used to be, denying you the shot. I think of damaged cockpit or PS0.
What I really like about them now is
engine.
they feel more thematic, not because of stupid jokes Joe makes about people being stressed because they're getting blasted. But like I think each of them causes you to play that ship slightly differently. You know, they sort of make you play as if you have a damaged part of your ship. Like if you can't use mods anymore, then all of a sudden you're doing something very different with your time. You know, if you can't, you know, the old ones just hit you in the canards and then walked away.
All right, so it looks like another K there. Another turnaround.
Well, it does look like he's going to clear on that. I do like that for getting away from the shots that, I mean, he's really... Erin's B-Wings are not going to have fantastic shots on him because of that range 3.
Right. Structural damage and damaged engine can't be flipped. But for me, I remember damaged engine in the last edition. It would turn your hard turns red, whereas this one just increases their difficulty. So if you're flying something like an interceptor where your turns are blue, then it just makes them white. It still hurts, but it's not as awful.
Yeah, not as crucially bad.
It's just like, it's straight up red, no matter what.
Well, like I said, it goes back to what I was saying about it changes the way you fly that ship. You're less likely to do that, but you're not just eliminating that from your options, which is what that other one did. It was a death. Some of those were just a death sentence.
All right. Here's a roll. I see all paint. Does he have the mods? It looks like 2. And that was from Wedge, because we just see 2 shields go from Erin's Braylen. That's all paint. Gonna re-roll that focus into a blank. This is into Cassian.
Looks like defends 1, so taking 2.
Yep.
He's still in pretty good shape.
Is that shields gone on Cassian? Might be. I don't see any more down there. All right.
Oh yeah, for sure. Anytime you can chain, we're looking in the comments over here and kind of having a discussion about what ships can just be killed by crits. The Decimator, which was my favorite ship, back in 1.0, it had that problem in spades. It's like that first crit could be something awful, and you could just be regretting it for the rest of your life.
Yep.
But I did always particularly like getting the one that gave you -1 agility. That was always a laugh. I'm like, meh.
Yeah, structural damage on a ghost or a decimator is always great.
It's like, so what you're saying is you bent my antenna. Cool. I will no longer be able to pick up AM stations. Big whoop.
Ooh, that looks like a whole lot going through. Here comes some more damage cards for Clay. I think that's a dead ship. Yep. That's all getting turned over. Goodbye, Braylen. Old friend.
Oh, now I point out that their structural damage does actually work on a decimator now. It just...
You got to be in the right place.
Yeah. I don't know, he may have missed it earlier when we talked about putting on the mud flaps. Here in Florida, we really just fly straight at each other and blow each other away. Or at least I do, which is why I win so much. Little inside joke from who was played against me. I have, in fact, lost to both people currently on this stream.
Oh.
Yep.
Who do you fear most?
Who do I fear most? That is a great question, because I've had to play against Clay. He's broken my hearts and dreams way more times, so maybe that's better. Florida roads are. Yes, that is absolutely true. It's because we're on them. Florida doesn't read terribly well, so we have Interstate 95, but a lot of people just assume that's the speed limit.
All right, Clay's
75 is not much better.
Dutch takes 2.
Oh, Maui Mike Beard ain't Thunderdome. Nobody likes Thunderdome. Go Fury Road at least.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Master Blaster?
There are good moments. Do you know why that movie sucks? Are you familiar with the
I
story
don't
behind
know
it?
that
We'll
movie
do-
sucks.
We'll do a little bit of learning here. Okay, so there's 2 guys that created the first 2 Road Warrior movies, right? Mad Action Road Warrior. There's George Miller, who also worked on the last one. It was Byron Kennedy.
Yep.
Byron Kennedy actually died in a helicopter crash scouting locations for Mad Max Mountain Thunderdome. So George Miller actually bowed out of it for the most part. He only directed the action sequences, which are still good. Like the Thunderdome sequence is amazing. Like,
yeah,
super cool. But like, he didn't directed the rest of the movie, which is why it's just kind of a hot mess. So that's the full story of why Mad Max Mountain Thunderdome is not nearly as good as the rest.
Look, man, 2 men enter, 1 man leave.
Oh, a fantastic sequence right there. But the whole thing with the weird kids in the end that doesn't make any sense. Not really sure what the heck anyone had, and why they let Tina Turner do the soundtrack. Dear God.
You know what? I'm going home tonight and I'm watching Thunderdome, and nobody's gonna stop me. We're gonna put this premise to the test.
Yes, we are.
All right, let's see here. So Clay is down Cassian and Braylen. He's got Dutch and Wedge left. Erin on the other side. Cassian, Braylen, 10 Numb. She's got more ships. Clay's got a PS advantage. Looks like his Wedge is stressed.
Yeah, from that K-turn he did last time. Although I think he has any number of good blue maneuvers he can pull here. Unfortunately, any of those blue maneuvers still leaves him getting fired upon by that. I don't think Cassian moves this turn. I think Cassian likes where he's at.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Uses that advantage for not having to get stressed last turn.
Let's recharge Leia here. And these B-Wings move first, so they can easily move into those 1s and 2s for Wedge.
Everything Florida wishes it could. Yeah, he's not wrong on that.
So this is Clay's Dutch. He probably K-turns, right? He doesn't have a turret, and there's no way to get shots except K-turning. Nothing's going to move up there to block him.
No. I mean, it's a safe K-turn, but it puts him out of the fight for a turn. I mean, he may still get shots on the 2 Y-Wings, which would be great shots, because being able to put the veteran turret gunner, being able to put 2 shots worth of ion into those guys actually could be a significant difference.
His, he's got the Proton Torp Dutch.
Oh, that's right.
The
I like
veteran turret gunner's dead. I was just checking.
After this round, I'm going to become very, very caffeinated and be able to tell one will be from the next.
So there's the K-turn.
Yep.
I think that Dutch has a target lock on Cassian, but that's got to be out of range.
You've seen Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Dad, we're well out of range.
I'll
Compensation for my brother-in-law's car.
I'll show you a video between matches referencing my life and Indiana Jones. In The Last Crusade.
My
Okay.
daughter may be the proudest person ever the other day when she told me she actually likes Indiana Jones better than Star Wars. I'm like, me too, but don't tell anybody.
Well,
Keep that to yourself.
we are recording. I just want you to know that.
Oh, yeah. I always forget that the internet's an actual thing.
If there were people who respected you on this stream, they have left.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. Especially if they listen to the podcast.
All right, here's a barrel roll out of Erin's Braylen.
Looks like something I'm going to attempt to block. Wedge.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a good block right there, because not taking a shot from Wedge seems pretty good, although I'm not sure who
Is that Numb bump?
she has a real shot at.
Nope.
Oh, well, very nice flying. Precision right there. Do you think that barrel roll put Dutch in Braylen's arc? It looks close, but if I cock my head and squint a lot, then I can't really see anything.
So, the one forward from Wedge is definitely safe. I wonder...
Well, it's safe from getting blocked. It's not safe from not having to B-wings breathing down.
That's what I wonder. I wonder if
I mean, he might be able
Erin...
to pilot skill kill 10 Numb, but that's risky.
Yeah, I wonder if Erin's saying, I want to have shots rather than block.
Yeah. I mean, having the 4 hull, it's possible, but not with Selfless.
Ooh, okay, the one bank away for Wedge. I wonder what his...
Clear.
I think his wings are still open, so he can't boost. That might have been a bit of a mistake, but maybe he wants to shoot into Cassian. Ooh, he's going to have to eat a whole lot of B-wing shots to do that.
One thing that I found I really like with X-Wings these days, and this is something that I've, just these little things that help me a lot. I always put their dial on servo motors. Once I've set the dial, I place it physically on the servo motors card.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, and then I'm like, oh, wait, because the timing on that is you do have to do it before you flip that dial. I'm like, okay, let's think about this before. Let's walk through this.
You know what? The next level for those of us who will still mess that up is to put servo motors over the dial. So then you have to search for the dial, and you're like, oh, okay, all right.
I want to just take those dial covers, just paint the servo motors on there, be like, oh, yeah, see what I did there.
Or you could play a fun game where you put the servo motor on your head, and then you have your opponent tell you, hey, which direction are my servo motors in? All right, there's 4 hits, and that looks like a blank and a focus, maybe. Was that a Proton? No, that's Wedge. 4 dice, range 1.
Oh, I guess, yeah, he does have Arc and Cassian.
So this is Cassian here, so let's see what happens. I think she was measuring for Selfless.
Yeah, it doesn't...
Of course, it couldn't be Wedge, because how would she be rolling 2 dice?
It's obstruct.
So it'd be 2 + 1 - 1. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Did she stop though? Wouldn't that put her to 1? If her wings are closed. Oh, you know what? She stopped, but she didn't change her wings because she didn't turn.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, because that maneuver's still on the dial. It just modifies what that maneuver can do. That's interesting. For a list that people would sort of describe as a basic, here's how you play X-Wing sort of list, there's so many things you can do with this list. So many options.
So that goes through. That was Dutch because it was 2 dice.
Yep.
Must be Braylen because she rerolled.
Oh, man. Gotcha.
There's the shield, and there's the damage card.
So many options I've got. Whew. Now, when Braylen uses his ability, he spends the stress to do it, or is it, he has the reroll?
As long as
off?
he's stressed, he can reroll up to 2 die results.
And Numb is something similar. He's the one that does have to spend it, though.
He can spend it as if it's a focus. So
Gotcha.
Braylen doesn't get to use it on focus, but can use it on anything. Numb spins it as a focus.
Ooh, that is a powerful shot.
Yeah, and there is the spend there from Braylen. And I see shields going away on Wedge. Let's see, are there any damage cards? No, okay.
Always so hard with the ship in the way to measure that range accurately.
Yeah. So here's 10 numb into Wedge. There's 2 blanks. Let's see, 1 blank and a focus. I think that's all going through. 1.
And 2.
2.
Oop, that one's a face up. I'm going to go check that table and see what we got there.
Alrighty. Damage engine. Okay, so his hard turns are going to be red now. They used to be white. All right.
Now, one of the things we talked about earlier in the game is the advantage of taking Leia out of the action here. I mean, how great would Wedge be looking next turn if he could do a K-turn and just come back in the fight, just pounding, laying down fire from behind. I mean, he has some pretty decent options even for like a Talon roll into a boost, you know what I mean, to come up behind them, and it's just those options are close to him right now. How much better would this turn have been if he was able to use Leia last turn to K-turn with dodge, be able to get those target locks, give a target lock out, fire a missile, and probably delete somebody on a pilot skill.
Yeah, for sure.
That advantage is huge.
We can. I wonder if he would Talon with Wedge to get behind the B-wings. He probably wants to finish off Cassian.
Yeah.
He's on 1 hull.
The Talon roll is also a little dangerous because, well, those B-wings can't Talon. They can't K-turn right now. They want to stress their ability to K-turn. They just point right at him. It's pretty scary.
Probably going to be hard for Erin to avoid the torp from Dutch.
Yeah.
Could try and just shoot forward, maybe get the block or range 1 shot. But Dutch might just 1 forward and let that U-wing stay in arc.
Cassian's holding on by just a thread, too.
Yeah. How are Erin's B-wings? I mean, they're both shieldless. Braylen's on 3, 10 Numb's on 4.
And both having selfless, though, it does make the torp play a little harder on that.
But look how 122 to 127. Like, nobody's pulling ahead clearly in points.
I mean, it is also, talk about it being pretty close right now, but it's 2 ships versus 3. Man, Cassian's only hanging on. When you look at life totals, it's what? It's 8 right now to 7?
Yeah.
That's significant.
Just check. Cassian can pull it off of himself, right?
No, it's range 1 to 3.
1 to 3. Yeah. Okay. So, gonna have to go across that rock. That debris could take a... I mean... I knew that was going to happen.
Yes, I just suffered a crit hit. No, we're good.
But he's going to have to go across that debris and could potentially die, just like Clay did, although there's no crit to guarantee.
That'd be weird if that rock kills 2 Cassians in a day.
Oh,
I'm giving it the Medal of Honor. I'm going to trade somebody for it. But hey, can I trade you for that rock?
Bring it to all your Rebel Beef games. No Cassian survives this debris.
Back when we used to play Mage Knight way back in the day, we had one pathetic little limited edition figure that for some reason had like a 100% kill count against everything else. His name was Tracker. He was a Knoll, and he was deadly. There we go.
So we do have 2 stressed B-wings for Erin. She does have Leia. Can we see the Leia charges from here? Cassian's down there at the bottom. I think, yeah, she's at 2 charges on Leia. So can't quite do that yet.
I think we got this. My mic is attached to a table by only the barest of threads. It's hanging on the same way Cassian is. But,
we can bite it to something else. The problem is this table has like a weird lip that you can't quite get around.
There we go. I think we're good for right now.
All right.
I just have to stop being indecisive with how I want to cock my head.
You commit to that movement, just like Cassian's doing. Ooh, looks like a hard turn over the debris.
Another Floridism. We call that hard turn for a hard journey in reference to a C-Lab.
Okay. I dig C-Lab.
There's an entire episode where they all get turned into mice, and I believe the captain claims they all need a hard cheese for a hard journey. So they all need to eat Parmesan. Right now, I'm going to hold this as if I'm the rock star in my own band that no one else can hear.
Well, you've only got 19 minutes left of holding that microphone, so don't worry
Somebody
about it.
kill somebody. Blast him.
All right, let's see how fast. Looks like a 2. So he does have arc on the U-wing. He could just focus now and take that torp shot. He could try to barrel roll and block these B-wings.
He's feels like him staying where he's at is a sacrifice play to take out Cassian, because if one of those B-wings just drives the bus and goes forward one, that will be the last shot. Dutch. Well, I don't know. Dutch still got 5, but that's a painful.
Goes for the target lock. Interesting.
I mean.
Oh, and he moves the target lock off of Cassian. So he's not going to waste a torp on that.
Wasting a torp for one hit does feel kind of bad, but I also don't guarantee I know where this B-wing's going to land. I certainly don't think I'm going to be able to.
One K turn. Okay, I guess that one wasn't stressed. Or, the Cassian remove.
Removed at the start of activation, yeah.
Yeah. He gives a target lock to Wedge, so maybe Wedge's Talon or K turning or something like that.
I mean, I don't not liking that Braylen is a way bigger threat than Cassian is. Now, Cassian pointed the wrong way with one hole left that can be pilot skill killed kind of at your leisure.
Yeah.
Isn't the scariest thing in the world. It's like he has no shot this turn. When he does get a shot, you both have pilot skill on him.
Yeah. 10 Numb, great, juicy, range 1 shot in Dutch. Gonna barrel roll. Focus linked action, yep. Of course, I don't know that you need the stress on 10 Numb there if nothing else can shoot you. You only need the focus for the
attack.
Offense.
Yeah. Depends on where Wedge ends up. There's probably.
Oh, you're right.
If he did,
Wedge hasn't moved. You're right.
Yeah, just like that.
Here's a Talon, yep. Good
Which
point.
is now a red, though, right? Because of his damage engine. Oh, the Talon. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm thinking him just hard turning.
Ooh, I probably would have backed that up, but he probably has a better idea of where that. Yeah, he's got this in arc. He's got Braylen. Yep, range 2 into Braylen with a target lock. Braylen's on 3. He could PS kill Braylen here.
Well, he also has a Dutch, so he may not get the pilot skill kill, but
right
because of simultaneous fire rules.
All right, looks like gonna re-roll, so he's got 2, and that looks like 3 with the target lock. And that all goes through. He can't roll anything because of the B-wing with Wedge's ability. So that should be a dead Braylen.
Assuming no crits. And I'm not sure he'd be within range of Selfless.
Oh, that's a good point.
And they're measuring.
He's checking. Yep.
Still don't necessarily like his odds of living through Wedge's shot as well, but.
All right, crit with Selfless. That looks like a double damage onto 10 Numb.
So it takes 2 off of 10 Numb, and that changes some math right there, doesn't it? That brings Erin's list down to a total of 1, 2, 4 hull remaining. That's
That feels tenuous.
Tenuous, yes. I think we're going to use tenuous here.
All right, this must be Dutch, range 1. Oh, he's not happy about that.
Looks like he took the target lock and still got into 1. That's
not only flying bad, but rolling bad.
You can only help one of those. So Braylen survives the range 1 target lock shot from Dutch. Ugh, heartbreaking. She's going to shoot back. Here's the reroll from the stress, and that's 3. This is into Wedge. 2 dice.
He's got paint.
Let's see, here's 2 damage cards onto Wedge.
Yep.
Oh, that would be dead if that's true.
Looks like we're only looking at 3 damage cards altogether, so.
10 Numb into Dutch. 2 into Dutch, so Wedge is gone. And Dutch takes 127 to 174. Now that's a bit more of a lead there for Erin. And it's just Dutch now.
Dutch versus the world.
Dutch can't PS kill anything.
Well, you know what happens after you kill Dutch's friends, right? Dutch is like, now you're going to have to pay. Because we're going Dutch.
I see. Okay. It took me a while to get there, but all right. I'll join you on that
I've
journey.
been setting that one up for a while.
And guys, this is just the beginning. This is just round 1. He's just warming up.
So for what it's worth, we have never met before. This is the first time we've had to interact with each other, so he's going to find out by the end of the day why every week they kick me off my own stream.
Hey, only 5 more rounds to go.
Da, 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 da.
This is the universe punishing you.
For my dad jokes?
Yeah. You guys can't see this, but the mic stand is falling off the table.
Literally attacking me. It's like coming right for us.
Yeah, the mic stand didn't like that joke either.
It couldn't stand it.
Okay.
So we have the bets on here. What do people win for the bets? Is this a...
My respect.
Oh, okay, cool.
You know what? We're still in our nascency. We're very early. We'll figure out something to do with those credits.
So right now Clay is checking sort of the MOE to see what his options are. What he can do to go out with this with a bang.
So Dutch is not stressed. He could K-turn for what that's worth, but it would be on this debris. He wants to move and target lock something. He'd probably love to take out Cassian with a Proton Torp. He can PS kill Cassian, but he's going to have to let 10 Numb in behind him to do that.
Me out.
Whew. And I believe Braylen here is facing the top of the board. He is stressed, although Cassian can remove that, and we can just see another K-turn, Talon roll, something like that. Yep, and there goes that stress.
And the combination of that and Leia's ability is just a stupefying maneuvering advantage.
Yep,
You look at a list that has this much, hull and firepower already to be able to add maneuverability to that. It's probably one of the reasons why this list is as good as it is right now.
And I believe Erin's Leia is back up. Just trying to get as far away as possible.
And her U-wing going into full, I could totally fit in this parking spot mode. This is a compact.
Mm-hmm. If she has Leia, I almost would have rather proc Leia and keep the U-wing there, because you're in prime Proton Torp range here. If the U-wing moves at all.
And one thing that's going to be interesting about this too is that Dutch moved his target lock last round, so he's not getting a fully modded Torp here. I mean, there's a chance he could miss on 2 Defendace. I don't love it, but stranger things, right?
Yep. Yeah, he's definitely got to go for that lock. Yep, there it is.
Gosh, I do feel like that's the last shot Dutch takes.
Yeah.
Even with 4 hull, you could live through that, but that's a lot of mods coming off those B-wings.
Yeah, this is going to be a K-turn out of Braylen. 10 Numb's just going to hard turn or bank in. Yep, there's the 2K.
And in reference to what Lou said there, you actually can buy enough. You actually can win enough credits on the show to buy a starship, but who's gonna fly it? You kid?
He'll be here all day.
Oh yeah.
All right, looks like the hard turn. It should be able to. I think that's red. No. Let me double check. Maybe she did do Leia. Yeah, one hards are red. Okay, so she must have procced Leia there.
Seems like a good
She's
time.
no.
Doesn't feel like you're gonna get another opportunity today.
Yeah. All right, Clay's got initiative, so let's do this Proton Torpedo. Let's get that ship off the board. There's a lot of paint. He's going to
That's one
reroll
right
his
up
blank.
the thermal exhaust port.
Oh, he's not going to spin the lock? Doesn't matter. And there's all the damage. She must have... Yeah, she did close her wings, which I wonder why... I don't know. So Cassian is gone. But all the 4s are going to shoot before it gets removed. All right, there's 3 into Dutch, range 1. And that's it.
There's the handshake.
Erin takes
That's
it.
a fantastic game to start it with. That was interesting.
Yeah, man. I mean, they were within 3 or 4 points for about an hour.
Yeah. I feel like when we do our confessional later, Clay's going to tell me how that rock jumped him. Came out of nowhere.
I swear, I didn't see it. All right.
It was like WrestleMania 10 when the rock came out of nowhere and body slammed Cassian.
Wow.
Yeah, it was WrestleMania 8, I think. Or 8.5.
That's exactly what this stream needed, was a wrestling historian. So thank you for showing up.
We've got one of those locally. He's actually watching Money in the Bank tomorrow instead of the end of Game of Thrones. That's how dedicated he is. I was like, you
know what?
Record that.
Honestly,
right?
after last week, I don't blame anybody for doing that.
Oh, man. Ooh.
All right, well,
You're
that's
not
going to do
wrong.
it for this game. We'll be back with the next round. Thanks,
Yes.
everybody, for playing. Thanks,
Yes,
everybody,
I'll put
for watching.
my mic in its place.